Greetings everyone, my name is Stefan and welcome back to part 5 of the Ultimate Guide to Stellaris. In this video, we'll be talking about optimizing your economy and making sure your production is solid. Now, before you watch this video, please do go ahead and check out my previous video on pop management. This is going to be the foundation for this video because if you don't have a happy and taken care of population, you will not be able to manage your economy. With that in mind, we can proceed. The basis of the Stellaris economy is your population. The more pops you have, the more resource production you can get, and more resource production means more power and dominance. This means that first and foremost, the resource you will want to optimize is pop growth. Now, you don't want to be going too hard with this, and there is such a thing as too much pop growth, because if you cannot take care of your population, unemployment will very easily kill you. So make sure you have enough pop growth to where your economy expands pretty quickly, but also make sure you can actually get a grip in your economy. Getting a grip in your economy involves having enough minerals production to actually build buildings and districts for your pops to work. Generally, you want a surplus of roughly 50 or more minerals production in the early game, and a surplus of 100 or more later on. This will allow you to build up your planets and take care of your population. However, the purpose of your empire is not to take care of your population. The purpose of an empire is to have pops serve you. And so you'll want to maximize your pop efficiency to have more power on the galactic scale. To have more power on the galactic scale, you will need a grand fleet and potentially a big economy because that also factors into your diplomatic weight when it comes to diplomacy. To achieve that goal, you have two primary resources. You have alloys and research. Now, early on, if you don't have enough minerals or energy production, just leave these two alone. Make sure you can manage your economy when it comes to energy, minerals, and basic pop needs. However, once you got a hold of that, you will want to convert some of your production over to alloys and science. You see, if you're just producing a whole bunch of energy and minerals, you won't really get anywhere. There is a point where you can't really spend minerals on anything, and there's only so many things you can buy with energy credits. However, with alloys and science, you can never have enough. Well, you can never have enough science, you can have enough alloys. The thing with alloys is that using them, you can cash in to your immediate power. You can build up a massive fleet with a whole bunch of alloys, and depending on your level, your fleet is going to be a certain power. To increase that certain power, you will need to research more and more technologies to be able to build a bigger fleet. Tech is extremely important, and I'll be covering that in a future video, but for now you have to know that the bonuses granted from tech are extremely significant and are going to be a key component of your economy. There are quite a few techs that increase your pop production by a solid 20%, and if you write down research, you will get these bonuses much earlier, and you'll be able to snowball and grow even faster. These resources can eventually be converted into additional alloy income, and that alloy income can be converted into ships. However, early on, alloy to ship conversion is not entirely efficient. For example, our early fleet costs about 300 alloys. However, we only get 145 fleet power, which is about half of the alloys that we spend. Later on, however, this relationship can be completely flipped around. For example, if you start building battleships later on with superior technology, you'll be able to convert 1,000 alloys into 2,000 fleet power. That is way better than the conversion of 300 into 150, and so you will want as much tech as possible to supplement your fleet. Your fleet will, of course, mainly depend on the strength of your alloy production. However, you can potentially quadruple its strength by having high technology. This whole thing means that research is the safest investment for your economy. You want to have as much of this as possible, and if you can get up to 500 research by year 50, you are in a pretty good position. If you're under that, you really got to reconsider the way you run your economy, and you got to make sure that your pops are getting well taken care of. Of course, having a happy population is not going to answer any of your problems. What is going to answer your problems is specific goals for production. With food and consumer goods, you want to be aiming for zero production. You can go under for consumer goods production for a while and just keep buying them, but overall you want to keep consumer goods production at about zero. Now, food is a little bit more important. You can go ahead and do an edict on your planets, which boosts pop growth speed by 25% for the cost of 1,000 food. If you have the margin to spare, you can go ahead and boost your planets with encouraged planetary growth. However, you don't really need it, and so keeping food production at zero will serve you well. However, you are losing a bit by not being able to do your edicts. So with energy credits, I would recommend keeping it at about 10 or 20 or so in the first couple decades, and then keeping it above 50 for the rest of the game. Of course, you will eventually reach a point where you're producing hundreds and hundreds of energy credits per month, but that is only for the late game. And preferably, before you militarize and build your massive fleet, you will want to get some extra energy credit production going because fleets use energy. To achieve these economic goals, you can use a variety of methods. For example, there's a thing called edicts, which allow you to boost production in a certain category by a certain amount. However, instead of boosting just whatever is the lowest and whatever has problems, you want to boost the thing that gives you the most production. So for example, we get a monthly gain of 38 energy credits per month. However, we get a raw production of 238 energy credits per month. We get a raw production of 227 minerals and only 119 food. This means that of all of these things, we will want to boost either energy credit production or minerals production, even though we have very little food production. That is because this 20% is applied across your entire economy, and 20% of 200 is way more than 20% of 100. And remember, you can always convert these resources through the market. You don't want to be abusing the market, but if you can produce twice as much of a single resource than another one, yeah, it's worth it to produce that resource. Other than edicts, you can also go for policies, although I would generally recommend keeping these at default. The only policy I would recommend is nutritional plenitude for your food policy. This will allow you to grow your pops slightly faster, and overall it is worth the extra food upkeep. Other than those couple things to boost your production, you will mainly want to focus on your planets. Your main focus should not be on producing as much science as possible by spamming research labs. No, your focus should be on making sure your pops and your planets are in good condition, and only then considering whether you have enough margin to produce more research. For example, in our situation, our economy is booming, and we have plenty of minerals production. In our case, we can afford to go ahead and build more research, and so we will want to go for that as soon as more building slots open up. However, if building slots open up and we're in the negatives for economy, we'll want to reconsider. One of the things you might do to keep your raw resource production under control is by building specific buildings on your planets. For example, if we were to suffer an energy deficit right now, instead of building this research lab, we will want to build this energy grid. This will provide us extra energy credits from technicians and will also give us extra technicians. Unlike research labs, this will benefit our raw resource production and will let you stay afloat for a while longer. Remember, if your empire collapses, it doesn't matter how much research you had before that. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video, which is going to be about technology. Bye bye.